I hate buffets. If you ask me to eat at a buffet here at my house in my hometown, I will scratch your eyeballs out. Hey everybody, it's Becky. Welcome back to my channel and another in my Disney series videos for this month. I do a Disney series every single year on my channel in May. So if you have missed any of those videos, I will link my Disney playlist in the description box below. You can catch up on every single Disney video that I have made in the past by clicking on that playlist. And just make sure you're subscribed in general, because I talk about other stuff on my channel besides Disney. I talk about mom life and fitness and homeschooling and cleaning and organization, so tons of stuff. So if you're not already, make sure you subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any of the videos I do every single week. My Disney series is a very special place, holds a very special place in my heart, because we go to Disney every single May, and I've gone to Disney World every year just about since I was about 9 or 10 years old. We missed a couple years here and there when I was pregnant and things like that, but for the most part, we go every single year, and we have found that May for us is the best time to go. Since we homeschool, we're usually done with school by that part of the year. So we don't have to worry about like the kids taking off school and missing it, or we don't have to worry about like coming back home and finishing homeschool. I make sure to plan our year so that we are done by the end of April, so that we go on vacation in May. It's like a celebration of no homeschooling for a couple months and just getting to go to Disney. So in today's video, I'm gonna be sharing with you guys our Disney Fastpasses and dining plans for 2017. But before I get into that, I wanna give you a little bit of a snapshot on how, very briefly, if anything with me is ever brief, I talk too much, but as brief as I can make it, how I plan our dining and our fast passes, and then I'll share with you the dining and fast passes that we have for this year. But the first thing I do before I do anything, right around the time that we have actually booked our trip to Disney, usually around 7 to 8 months, I believe, before we actually plan to go, I will book our trip, knowing that there will be a discount code coming along later on in the year. So I will go ahead at that point and book the hotel. And then I look at the park hours, and I make a calendar, just print it off the internet, just a basic blank calendar. And I'll go through and I'll write down the projected park hours for the dates that we're gonna be at Disney. Now those do typically, like 99.9% of the time, they will change as time goes on, even right up to a couple weeks before you're supposed to arrive. They're constantly changing things. But usually I've only ever seen it change for more time that the park is open that day instead of less. And that is how I start planning which days we're gonna be in which parks. And we get park hoppers so that we can go back and forth if we want to. But usually, like if Magic Kingdom's open only one day of the week that we're gonna be there until midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning, that will be a designated Magic Kingdom day. And if Epcot's open till 11 o'clock one night that we're gonna be there, that'll be a designated Epcot day. So I start kind of narrowing down which days we're gonna be at which parks based on the time that we're gonna be open until. We are definitely more of the nighttime magic hours people than we are the people that get there in the morning for the early magic hours, because we do not get up early. We're not morning people. If you don't know what extra magic hours are, it's basically a benefit that you get as being a Disney resort guest. Every day, at least one theme park will have a time where it's open a little bit earlier for just resort guests, or it's open a little bit later for just resort guests. And that way you're getting more for your money, because as a resort guest, you're able to go in early before the general public, or stay later after everyone else has to go home. So I will look for those days that I know whichever park is going to be open late with extra magic hours, those will be designated for specifically that park for that day. So once I kind of have earmarked a little bit of a framework about which days I think we're going to be at which parks based on the park hours, then at the 180-day mark, resort guests are able to start making their dining reservations for the entire length of their stay, up to 10 days. So if you're not staying on Disney property, you can still make a resort or dining reservation at the 180-day mark, but you can only make them in 1-day increments. If you're a resort guest at the 180-day mark, you can make reservations like for the day you check in and then 10 days after. So you're getting a more benefit of getting the better dining reservations first before the general public. So it's another benefit of staying on Disney property, is being able to book your dining reservations for up to 10 days after your check-in day, versus people who aren't staying on Disney property who can only book 1 day at a time. Since you've already done a little bit of that prep work where you've penciled in the days you think you're gonna be at each park, that's really when you can start looking at the dining reservations. So I know that we like to go to Chef Mickey's on the morning before we go to Magic Kingdom. So I will go ahead and think, okay, Magic Kingdom day I have is Wednesday the 14th. I'm gonna go ahead and schedule Chef Mickey's for that morning of the 14th before we head to Magic Kingdom. So that's really how I start filling in all of our dining reservations. So, and if you're a resort guest, then 60 days before your trip, you can actually start making your fast passes. I believe it's 30 days before your check-in if you are not staying on Disney property. But for us, it's 60 days. So at the 60-day mark, it is like, I get up early and I am online as soon as you're able to make fast passes. I believe it's at 6 a.m. It may be 7 a.m. You probably want to check about that because I don't remember. But I am up early in the morning and I've got my calendar here that I already got my park hours on and my dining reservations on. And so now I know which days we're going to be at each parks for sure, because I know we've got the hours all figured out. I've got the dining reservations all planned out, and I'm going to pick the fast passes based on those dining reservations and what days we're going to be at each park. I have to say the fast pass situation is a little bit of a mosh pit because everybody's on there trying to get the best ones, and especially if it's a new ride, like Frozen's fairly new and the Soarin' update is fairly new. So at the 60-day mark, I'm online, but I'm not as stressed out because I've already got my calendar here. I already know what days we're going to be going where and what time our dining reservations are on. So I can just hop on and go boom, 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 and I know exactly where I'm going to be at what times. Knowing your park, knowing what park you're going to be at and what dining reservations you have already in advance is really going to make it a much quicker process to pick your fast passes, and it's going to make it a lot more likely you're going to get the fast passes you want, because you're not sitting there thinking, okay, what day do I want to do this, and then I'm going to go back, and then by the time you go to get that fast pass, it's probably going to be gone if it's for a popular ride. So kind of have to be quick on the draw when it comes to fast passes. So hopefully that was not confusing. It was actually helpful to share with you guys how I plan and how I break it all down so that it's making things easier for me and making sure that I get the dining reservations and the fast passes that I know that we want. So that being said, I'm going to share with you our 2017 fast passes and dining reservations that we have made for this year. So the first day that we arrive, we're not going to the parks. We're just going to go to the hotel, get settled in. And then we usually go to, I still call it Downtown Disney. I know it's Disney Springs now, but it's still going to be Downtown Disney to me in my mind. So we go to Disney Springs the first night and eat at Rainforest Cafe. We love it. We used to make reservations. We have learned a long time ago that if you have the Rainforest member card, then you do not have to make a reservation because they will give you priority seating. So that in itself is a benefit of having the Rainforest membership card. And you'll probably want to check with the Disney dining people. I think it's 407 WDW Dine. Call them and check and see if they have information for you about the Rainforest membership, because I don't remember if we paid for it because it was so long ago. It seems like maybe we did pay a little bit for it, like a one-time thing. But you get rewards based on how much you spend. You get a reward in your birth month, and the benefit for us, the main benefit, is the priority seating and not having to make a reservation. So we don't worry about making a reservation that night. We can just get down to Downtown Disney whenever we feel like it, Disney Springs, and eat at Rainforest and kind of look at the shops and stuff. And then we go back to the hotel and rest up for the next day. So the next day is what I have designated as our first Magic Kingdom day, and as I said, we have Chef Mickey's planned for that morning. It's at the Contemporary Resort, which is right next to Magic Kingdom, so you can either drive or you can take the monorail from the Contemporary over to Magic Kingdom. And I really like doing it that way because you're already so close to Magic Kingdom, and it just kind of is the kickoff for our trip. Like, going to Chef Mickey's is like, yes, we're here, we're eating at Chef Mickey's, our trip has officially begun. So I really like scheduling Chef Mickey's for us at the beginning of our trip. I hate buffets. If you ask me to eat at a buffet here at my house in my hometown, I will scratch your eyeballs out. I just can't stand buffets. But Disney does know how to do a buffet, and I really like Chef Mickey's because they have such good Mickey waffles, and I know you can get them at the resort like restaurants too, but the ones at Chef Mickey's I think are the best. They have so much variety, the characters are there, and it's just a really fun, upbeat place. It's not a relaxing place to eat because you've got characters going around and like people swinging napkins and they're singing songs. It's definitely not the place you would go to relax, but I think it's really fun. The kids enjoy it. I really like it, and so we always go to Chef Mickey's. So we have that in the morning, not too early. We have a 9:20 reservation because I do not get the kids up early on vacation if we don't have to. And then for lunch, we have Be Our Guest at 1:40. Now you can go to Be Our Guest, which is Beast Castle. You can go there for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. If you go for breakfast or lunch, it's considered a counter service. If you go there for dinner, it is a table service. We have found actually over the years, we actually prefer the menu for lunch versus for dinner. So you still get the atmosphere and everything if you're there at lunch, but it's a lot cheaper. It takes a counter service entitlement if you're on the dining plan instead of a table service, and you're in and out a lot faster. So we like to go for lunch, so we have a Be Our Guest at 1:40 for that. The next day is Epcot Day because it's the only day we're going to be there. The Epcot's open late, so that is Epcot Day, and all we have for that day is Le Cellier at 3:30. It's a Canadian steakhouse in the countries back at Epcot. It's in Canada, obviously. And I hated it growing up, but it's kind of grown on me over the years. They have really good chicken. I don't get the steak, but my family loves the steak. And they have a really good bread basket they bring out where they have bread from all the different provinces in Canada. So it's a really neat experience. It's really dark and cozy, and it's much more relaxing. So if you want more of a low-key meal, if you want maybe a romantic dinner or something like that, it's a beautiful restaurant to eat in because it is really cozy and quiet. So we have that at 3:30. We don't have any breakfast reservations that day because we will probably just eat at the hotel. We really like to eat in the cafeteria at Riverside Resort where we always stay. So we'll eat breakfast there. And then if you notice, the Le Cellier reservation is at 3:30. That's because we typically like to make a really late lunch or very early dinner reservation so that we're not eating a big heavy meal like later in the day. It's easier to make reservations at that time. And I think we just prefer it that way. We'll have breakfast whenever we get up and then have that late, really late lunch or early dinner at 3:30 or 4. And then if we get hungry again later, we'll just have a snack. So we found that works best for everybody in our party, and so we just always do that. The next day I have Magic Kingdom again, just because it was the only day that Magic Kingdom was open until midnight. That's the latest night they're going to be open that we're there. So the only thing we have for that day is Be Our Guest at 11:40. Everybody in our family loves Be Our Guest, and so they wanted to go twice. So we're going to Be Our Guest for lunch again that day. And if you notice, it's 11:40, so we probably will not have breakfast that day. I'm not really sure what we're going to do for dinner because I don't really like much of the food at Magic Kingdom. I'm picky. I've told you this before. I'm really picky. But my husband and my dad really like Casey's, the hot dogs that they have, so we'll probably eat there or somewhere just kind of small, like a counter service or something for dinner on that day. The next day is Animal Kingdom Day, and I'm really excited because this is the first time for us going to Animal Kingdom where they're actually open later. They're open until 9:30 every night that we're there, and that's going to be so funny because Animal Kingdom always has closed at 6 or 7. So to be there that late is going to be something really neat. They started that last summer, like after we went last year. They started that, I believe, in June where they were staying open late. So I'm really excited to be there at nighttime. I think it's going to be a whole different experience, and I'm really excited. But that day, I don't have any dining reservations because we typically eat at Pizzafari, which is a pizza restaurant at Animal Kingdom. It's a counter service. It's not the best pizza in the world, but it's, I don't know, it's good enough. It's pretty good. My mom and dad really like Flame Tree Barbecue, so if you like barbecue, you'd probably like that, and it's a counter service as well. And then again, Rainforest, they have a Rainforest Cafe at Animal Kingdom as well as Disney Springs. So if you're at Animal Kingdom and you don't know where to eat, Rainforest Cafe is really good. It's at the front of the park when you get there, like off on the left-hand side. And again, I don't need to make a reservation because we have that member pass. So we got priority seating for there. So I did not worry about making any dining reservations on that day. The next day is Hollywood Studios Day, and we have a dinner reservation at 3:30. Again, it's a very early dinner, very late lunch or early dinner, however you want to look at it. But my mom and dad and my husband like Brown Derby. I don't particularly like it. But again, I'm picky. So I usually get pretty much the same thing at Be Our Guest and Le Cellier and Brown Derby. I get off the kids menu. I get the grilled chicken with vegetables. That's what I like. It's really calm. It's nothing crazy and spicy, so my stomach doesn't get upset. And I really like it. They do really have good chicken, and their french fries are really good too, and their bread basket's really good. But if you go there for the steak, they're supposed to be really good with their steaks. I don't particularly like their steaks, but I'm crazy, so don't listen to me about that. But my dad loves their Cobb salad. It does take 2 table services, so if you're on the dining plan, it will take 2 table service entitlements away from you. And also, the Brown Derby is one of the restaurants at the Hollywood Studios that has the Fantasmic package option. Fantasmic is the Hollywood Studios nighttime light show, and if you go to Brown Derby, I believe it's still, now don't quote me on this, you would want to check with the WDW Dine Reservationist, but I believe it's still Mama Melrose's, the Brown Derby, and Hollywood and Vine, I think, are still the 3 restaurants that participate in the Fantasmic package, which basically means when you go with the Fantasmic option, you get basically a fast pass priority seating for Fantasmic at night when you've eaten at one of those 3 restaurants during the day with the Fantasmic option. It does cost more money if you're paying out of pocket. If you're on the dining plan, it doesn't take any more entitlements than 2 per person anyway, but you do get an extra appetizer, I believe. So it's up to you whether or not you want to pay out of pocket, and you know you're going to pay a little bit more for that Fantasmic option, or if you're on the dining plan, it's not going to cost you anymore. It's just still going to take you 2 entitlements per person to eat at Brown Derby. So hopefully that makes sense. Again, check with the WDW Dine Reservationist. They can tell you more details about all of that. But that's my parents usually go with the Fantasmic option. And then since we're going again this year without the dining plan, we're going to be paying out of pocket. It's not worth it for us to pay more money for the Fantasmic option for an appetizer that we probably don't want, just to be able to get priority seating at Fantasmic. It's not that big of a deal. So that's up to you, definitely personal preference. The day after that is going to be Epcot/MGM Day. MGM, see what I mean? It's Hollywood Studios now. It was MGM many years ago and they changed it, and to me it's still MGM, but whatever. Again, we have Le Cellier that day because everyone requested that we go to Le Cellier twice. So we're going to Le Cellier that day at Epcot at 2:30. And I think what I've got with the Fastpasses is that we're going to finish up at Epcot. Yeah, finish up at Epcot, eat dinner at Le Cellier, and then go to Hollywood Studios later on to finish up anything anybody wants to do. If they don't want to go back to Hollywood Studios, that's fine. We don't have to. We can go play golf or go to the hotel or whatever we want to do, but I kind of have that day as kind of a loose day. The day after that is actually the last day we're going to be there, and I have that as an Animal Kingdom day and a finish up day. So we usually will spend the first part of the day, you know, going back to a park we really like, and then if there's anything else that anybody wants to ride at a different park, we'll kind of try to accommodate everybody and let them pick, like, what do you want to do before we leave? What do you want to do before we leave? And try to finish up or go back and do something else that somebody wanted to go do again before we left. So that day I have as our Animal Kingdom day and a finish up day. So I do not have any dining reservations for that day either. We can eat at the hotel. We can go back to, I know we're going to be at Animal Kingdom that day, so we can eat at Pizzafari again if we want to. We can eat at Rainforest Cafe again if we want to. My kids and I really love Rainforest Cafe. I think we ate there 3 or 4 times last year. So could we eat there again? We're really open on that. So I don't have any dining reservations for that day either. So for Fastpasses, the first day at Magic Kingdom, we have Peter Pan's Flight, It's a Small World, Big Thunder Mountain Railroad, and Pirates of the Caribbean. Now, if you notice, that's 4, and you're only allowed to book 3 in advance, but my parents are taking, going on It's a Small World, while the rest of us are going on Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. So it's actually a split Fast Pass. So my parents will have their Fast Pass for Small World, while my husband and my 2 girls and I ride Big Thunder Mountain Railroad. At Epcot the next day, we have Spaceship Earth, which, I don't know. I like it, but I don't really want a Fast Pass for it, but sometimes you can't pick all the Fast Passes that you want. We have Journey into the Imagination with Figment, and then Frozen Ever After, and that was one of the big ones I knew I had to get this year. So this is like the first one I got. The first Fast Pass I chose was Frozen, because it opened right after we left last year and we missed it. So we definitely didn't want to miss that this year, so we have a Fast Pass for Frozen. The next day was Magic Kingdom Day, so we have the Seven Dwarfs Mine Train, which we all love, Buzz Lightyear, which I wish they would update because it's getting kind of old, and then the Mad Tea Party. The next day at Animal Kingdom, we have the Safari, which is one of my favorite rides, and I could ride it all day long over and over. If they would let me just sit on that truck all day long and go around and around and around, I would. And then we have Expedition Everest, which my parents and my youngest will not be doing, so they're probably doing something else. And then Rivers of Light, which is the new Animal Kingdom nighttime light show that they have, and so that'll be the first time seeing that as well. The next day is Hollywood Studios, so we have Toy Story Mania, Twilight Zone Tower of Terror, and then Star Tours. The next day after that is Epcot in the beginning of the day, so we have the Seven Seas with Nemo, Soarin', and Living with the Land. And Soarin' is also new. It was closed last year when we were there because they're updating it and changing the whole movie that they showed during the ride. So we didn't get to do Soarin' at all last year. So this will be our first year doing Soarin' with the new show. And Living with the Land is like a really slow boat ride at Epcot about food, and why I love that ride so much, I don't know. I mean, I know I love food, but I hated it growing up. It was so boring, and they did update it, but it's still basically a boat ride about food. But it's one of my favorite rides now, which is really weird. So I highly recommend Living with the Land in Epcot. It's in the Land Pavilion right next to the seas. So definitely check it out. It's right next door to Soarin'. So if you're at Soarin' and you go to the ride a little bit, you'll see the land. I like it. It's fun. The day after that is again at Animal Kingdom, so we have the Kilimanjaro Safari again, the dinosaur ride, and we have Rivers of Light again. Just in case we really liked it earlier in the week and wanted to see it again before we leave, I made a fast pass for that. And that's it. Those are all of our fast passes. Now, with the 3 fast passes that you're able to reserve before you get to Disney, you have to have used those 3 before you can get new ones down at the park. So that's the only bad thing about it. You know, you have to make sure that you have gotten these done before you're able to get more fast passes at the park, or you have to trade them in for something else. So that's something to keep in mind. You know, make sure that if you can at all possible, get all your get your 3 fast passes out of the way as early in the day as possible, so that when you get down there, you're able to make more fast passes at the fast pass kiosks that they have in each park. Because if you make all your fast passes for nighttime, you're not going to be able to get more fast passes when you're down there until those 3 have already expired. So definitely try to schedule your fast passes as early in the day as possible. So those are my tips and tricks for how to plan your Disney vacation in regard to dining and fast passes, and then our 2017 dining and fast pass reservations. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I've never really thought about sharing this before with you guys, but then I've seen other people doing it on YouTube, so I thought, well, maybe you would be interested in seeing it. So hopefully you enjoyed it. Make sure if you did, you give it a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments, what is your very favorite ride at Disney World? Any of the parks, even the water parks. Let me know what your favorite ride is in the comments. I'm curious to know. And make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any of my videos that I do every single week, and that you don't miss any of the videos that are coming up in the remainder of this Disney series. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye.